This one hurts, Commanders fans. 14-7 loss to the 1-5, now I guess 2-5 New York Giants on the road. This game was right there for the taking, man, and Jahan Dotson freaking dropped the football. We're going to be breaking it down on today's show. But before we get things going here on the Commanders Report, give me your one-word reaction to today's loss, man. The offense scored 7 points against the Giants offense. Let me know down in the comments section what your one-word reaction is to today's game. For me, my one word, plain simply, to quote my good friend Smitty, our producer here at the Commanders Report, it's tough. It was a tough loss because plain and simply, earlier this year, it was this defense that was giving up 33-plus points. They're getting blown out, and we were like, man, this offense is actually doing a pretty decent job, but the defense is letting us down. Not this game. This game, it was the offense scoring only 7 points against the defense in New York there that was giving up about 28 points per game. Just couldn't get anything going in the first half. Sam Howell looked uncomfortable this entire football game. The Giants were blitzing the hell out of him. Howell did not look comfortable at all with that pressure in his face. Threw an interception today, no touchdowns. Chris Rodriguez had 7 carries for 31 yards. Terry McLaurin actually had a pretty decent day today, 6 catches for 90 yards. But then the Giants, let's just be honest here. The Commanders absolutely took care of business on the defensive side of the ball. This is their second straight game where their opponent was held to under 20 yards. They did their job. Chase Young played great. Montez Sweat played great. As a whole, the secondary looked pretty good again with Emmanuel Forbes getting limited action. Tyrod Taylor was 18 of 29 for 279 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, which was the difference. Threw a really good one to Darren Waller, who led this team in rushing with 98 yards. Or receiving with 98 yards and a touchdown. Saquon had 77 yards rushing along with a big catch for a touchdown in this football game. So coming up here, I'm going to give you guys my 5 takeaways coming out of this Week 7 loss. It's not looking good, all right? So plain simple, so buckle up, Commanders fans. We're going to be getting into it. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor at Prize Picks. And if you want to spice up your game days this NFL season, get started with Prize Picks today. Prize Picks is a skill-based real money daily fantasy sports game, and you might be asking yourself, how does it work, Jack? Here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any single entry. You can even sign up just in time for Monday Night Football tomorrow night. Check it out now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. At Prize Picks, you aren't competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, which are just looking to take advantage of you. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks, so get started right away. Do it before Monday Night Football tomorrow. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. So my first takeaway, I tried to warn you guys before the season. This offensive line was going to be very bad. Not even I expected them to be this bad through the first 7 weeks of the season. Through the first 7 games of the 2023 season, this offensive line has given up 40 sacks. 40. The all-time NFL record is 76. They're already past halfway there, and we're not even halfway through the season. This offensive line, just last week, they gave up 3 sacks versus the Falcons, and we're like clapping it up. We're like, oh yeah, we're doing a great job just giving up 3 sacks. Because every week, it's like 6 sacks, 8 sacks, 10 sacks. They're just racking them up. Sam Howell's holding on to the ball for too long, and this offensive line is not holding up, plain and simply. And listen, Ron Rivera, the time is now to make a change. Something needs to change in this offensive line. Nick Gates might be the worst starting center in this league right now. He blows, okay? Sadiq Charles is not a starting left guard in this league. That signing of Andrew Wiley at right tackle, not looking great. Starting Charles Leno Jr. this week over Cornelius Lucas, not a great decision. Something needs to change on this unit. Now, I don't care what it is. Go sign Ben Jones in free agency. Trade for Trent Brown or Michael Onwenu from the Patriots. Something needs to be done here, or the Commanders are going to be in trouble. Plain and simply, Teams know right now that if you send cover zero blitz like the Giants did all day long today, this offense isn't going to be able to score points. So you got to do something. You got to address the issue here, and you got to do it here before the trade deadline. Number 2 takeaway today is that Howell did not look good when facing heavy pressure today. The Giants sent cover zero blitz, all-out blitz, a number of times today, especially in the first half, and he just didn't look comfortable. Now, I will say that Sam did a better job as the game went on. In the second half, he was moving the football effectively. They got in the red zone. They weren't able to score points in those situations, right? You had the fumble, and then you had the drop pass at the end on 4th down. But Sam Howell, overall, he looked not great today, plain simply, man. Just under 250 yards and an interception. His first half was one of the worst halves of football that he's had in his young career to this point. He's looked good. I'm not giving up on him. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But I think that Sam Howell definitely had a rough performance today, and he's going to have to pick it up. He's going to have to start handling the heat because every team on the Commanders' schedule is going to be looking at this game film, and they're going to say, wow, if we just light this kid up, he's not going to know what to do. He's just going to take a sack, right? And that has to change moving forward. Eric Bieniemy, Sam Howell need to be on the same page on how to address cover zero blitzes because today it was straight up ugly. Now, before I reveal the last couple of takeaways here from this week's loss, show some solidarity here. We're all Commanders fans here at the Commanders Report. Like today's video to show that you are with us right now and that you're not giving up on this football team. I'm not quite ready to give up on this team. It was definitely a tough loss on the road this week, but we're going to be right back trying to get to 500 next week. Show some solidarity. Click that like button right now. Something else that surprised me quite a bit in this football game is that the Commanders played David Mayo over Khaleke Hudson when Cody Barton went down with an injury today. David Mayo's fine. He led the team in tackles today. But, Khaleke Hudson, I think, is somebody that's shown a bit more upside than David Mayo. I'm not really sure why Khaleke didn't get the opportunities that I thought he might when Cody Barton went down. David Mayo was fine. He wasn't great in coverage or anything like that, but he certainly wasn't atrocious. So that was definitely an interesting takeaway. I'm interested to see what this Cody Barton injury update looks like later this week. And I'm interested to see what the depth chart looks like if Cody Barton is not able to go. Then another takeaway I have is that the Commanders better not trade Chase Young or Montez Sweat. These guys are too damn good, man. These guys were eating today. And yes, the Giants' offensive line stinks. I get that. But, man, the production from these two, it's every single week now. Young had 2 sacks. Sweat had a sack and multiple tackles for loss today. These guys are getting it done. And for a coaching staff and a team that's looking to make the playoffs or they're going to fire their head coach, you got to keep these guys on your roster. If you're going to make the playoffs, it's going to be on the back of this defense because this offensive line stinks. So you need the pass rush to be as good as it possibly can. And then you got to try to find a way to extend one of these gentlemen and then use this franchise tag on the other because, these guys are just too good to let go. It's just too much talent there to trade. I guess we'll see what happens before the trade deadline. But if you're asking me, do whatever you can to keep these guys on the roster. My final takeaway, Jahan Dotson, catch the damn football, man. Catch the ball, especially on 4th and 3. I know Sam Howell kind of put it behind him a little bit, and it's tight coverage. But, he's pressured immediately. Sam Howell gets outside the pocket, spins out of there, throws on the run. He gives you a catchable football. Catch it. And then you're on the 2-yard line with a chance to win the football game with a minute left. With the drops this year with Jahan, it's been a huge, huge issue with him. We saw it last week against the Falcons where he would have had like a 40-yard gain. Howell puts it right on him, drops it. It just can't happen. For a guy that was drafted this high in the NFL draft, this guy needs to show something better here because it wasn't an issue in college. It wasn't an issue last year. For some reason, the drops are an issue this year. And if you want to trade anybody, don't trade Chase Young or Montez Sweat. Trade away Jahan Dotson at this point because right now, he's still a very talented guy. You might still be able to get something for him. Right now, he's not doing his job, and the Commanders are loaded at the wide receiver position. So if you're going to trade anybody, trade Jahan Dotson. That's what I say after today's big-time blunder from him there on 4th and 3. Grade the Commanders versus the Giants for me down there in the comment section. Grade this week's performance, A, B, C, D, or F for me. I'm actually going to, this might surprise some people based on my tone in this video. I'm going to give them a C-. The defense did its job. Held their opponent to under 20 today. The defensive line was eating. And then also on offense, in the second half, you actually moved the football and you looked a little bit more comfortable. So overall, not a great performance. I'm not trying to say that it was a great performance or anything like that, but there is enough here to still be optimistic moving into the future. Hopefully, Sam Howell continues to develop this season in his first year as the starter. And I'm not ready to give up on this football team. I'm not. This defense has looked really good the last 2 weeks. Yes, the Falcons and Giants, they're not lighting the world on fire on offense or anything like that, but they're doing a good job. This offense has generally looked pretty decent throughout this year. The offensive line might end up ruining this season, so they better make a move there before the trade deadline. But overall, I'm still feeling pretty decent as we head into Week 8, even though we're currently sitting at 3-4, and they need to get things going. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now to join us for our Commanders coverage throughout the week. We're probably going to do Jahan Dotson trade destinations tomorrow. So if you're interested in that kind of video, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Trade rumors leading up to the trade deadline, previews every week before every game. And then I think next week we're going to be doing a live watch party as well. So if you want all that Commanders content, 100% free, click that subscribe button right now.